You're good.
Good. All right, whenever you guys are ready. Good morning. We are Meeting Train. My name is George.
I'm Tucker.
I'm Olivia. I'm Nadia. And I'm Erin.
And we are the online meeting agenda organizer that wants to change the way that you guys do meetings.
Picture this. You're sitting in a room at a long conference table surrounded by your colleagues who don't want to be there as much as you do. The meeting has run 15 minutes over time. It's a sunny Friday afternoon, and the only two people talking are your boss and an annoying suck-up coworker. You just want to get out of there. This is similar to the situation that our mentor experienced, why he was late on his way to meet us for the first time. He proceeded to tell us how annoying that meeting had been and how these types of meetings are a regular occurrence for him. After researching this problem further, we found many statistics that confirm the problem of unproductive meetings. Studies show that 5 to 6 hours a week are spent on meetings. That could potentially add up to 512 days of your life. Now get this, $37 billion are spent on meetings every year. We want to cut that cost and decrease that time.
So this is the basic functionality of our website. You first get to create a personalized agenda, and with that, you get productivity and efficiency ratings that will then generate the data-driven statistics to show you which of your meetings were most efficient, least efficient, and cost you the most. So as I said, this is our MVP. This is what our page looks like. We basically have a how it works tab with pricing about and a stay updated. And to stay updated, we have a survey that you can sign up for, and you also have a demo that you can try out.
So moving on to our market sizing. Our total market is comprised of all the businesses in the U.S. that have 500 plus employees, and that is worth $4.5 billion to us with our pricing model. However, we know as a young startup company that is nearly impossible to reach, so we will be focusing more on the serviceable market in the Chicagoland area with the same 500 plus employee requirement, and that is worth $70 million.
So through extensive research, we have discovered that our four main competitors include Meeting King, SamePage, Agreedo, and Meeting.gs. All of these companies do something very similar. However, Meeting Train includes real-time meetings and a progress bar, unlike any of these. This is an example of Meeting King's webpage. As you can tell, it's very simplistic and does not have a lot of additional features to really personalize every single meeting. When you are actually entering your topics, personally, I'm super confused and I don't know what to enter, and all these words are freaking me out. And they even spelled flexibility and used poor grammar wrong. I mean, personally, I would not want to use this website to run my company's meetings.
So one of the main parts of our MVP was this demo that we had created, and what we did is we basically tested this demo in roughly about 15 meetings, and we tried it out with the meeting attendants so that we could get feedback on what they thought they liked best about it, as well as working out any kinks that were in the demo. So how it works is you title your meeting at the top, and then the amount of time you want your meeting to last. And then you can add subtopics to that meeting and assign an importance value to the topics. So the importance values are 1 through 10, 1 being the least important, 10 being the most important. And then this is what it looks like as you continue to add topics to that meeting. And the time you spend on each topic will be divided proportionately to the importance value that you've assigned it. So as you can see, this was assigned 5, this was assigned 4, and that time will be divided up as the importance value.
So this is what the website will look like as a meeting is actually functioning. On the side, you can see they have the topics, and then underneath it says the suggested time based on the importance value. You are also able to type in notes, which will appear on the opposite side. And across the top here, there's actually a progress bar that will fill up as you complete each topic. So once you finish one topic, the progress bar filled up. So this one, it was 50-40, so it's slightly over 50% of the progress bar has been filled. And the notes from the past topic are on the other side, so you can view them while you're still working on your meeting. So once the meeting is completed, you will see all your notes that you were able to look through. And currently, we are actually working on making this a PDF so you can save it for later, but you can still see them after. And we actually have our developer for our demo has agreed to work with us throughout the summer so we can keep working on it and improving it.
So for our revenue model, we are going with a value-based recurring model, which we have come up with based on a study that Harvard did, which showed that if one large corporation has one meeting per week of their mid to high-level managers, for 1 year it will cost the company $15 million to run that meeting. If we can increase the efficiency in this meeting by just 10% and then take 10% of whatever we save the companies as revenue, that will average out to $12,500 per month in revenue or $150,000 per year. For our revenue model, in year one, we are hoping to reach 3 customers in the Chicagoland area, which yields $300,000 in revenue. And we're going to be growing in years 3, 4, and 5 by expanding outside the Chicagoland area and expanding our market size. So because we are an online service, we have no cost of goods sold, so all of our costs will fall under SG&A costs. And the first and foremost of these is going to be our IT costs. And these are going to be really expensive for our company because we want to make our website something like Google Docs, where everybody has their own account and they have their own database of all the meetings that they've ever been in. So it's going to be expensive to develop that and maintain it. Moving on to salaries, in years 3, 4, and 5, we're going to be paying ourselves salaries as well as any other employees that we may have to hire in the future. And in addition, we're going to be giving out a 40% commission rate, which seems like a high number. However, with the revenue model and numbers that we've put in, with the 40% commission rate, we still have money left over with this model. For marketing, in the early stages, we're going to be buying a list of CFO emails and emailing those contacts directly to get customers. In addition, we're going to be setting up booths at trade shows and business conventions and purchasing ads in business articles like Business Insider and such. And in addition, we have legal costs in the initial stages of our company.
So a marketing tactic that gave us a lot of exposure was the Business Expo, which we attended in April. And here we were able to have a booth where we handed out business cards to people who seemed genuinely interested in our company, and we were also able to give them more information on our company. And we were also able to get their contact information so that we can continue to email them and keep them updated as we continue to progress forward with our company.
So as Navia said previously, we have been emailing potential customers that we met at the Business Expo, and we are also planning on funding to our search engine optimization.
So one of the first meetings that we sat in on for our MVP was a meeting with the Barrington 220 School Administration, so Dr. Harris and a bunch of other school administrators. And school administration has meetings every day of the week, 7 days a week pretty much. And so they're to be a really good prime early adopter for us. And they really like the software that in the future everything could be integrated into one database, so all of your meetings will be there from your past week and the week before that, so that it's all in the same place and you can look at the notes from the past weeks. And so we got really good feedback from that meeting, and they're looking for more information from us.
Another productive meeting that we had was with Pepper Construction here in Barrington, and that meeting actually resulted in a letter of intent that they gave us to purchase our software once it became available. So yes, they plan on seeking us out in the future, and they said they really liked the progress bar and the timer because they felt that that would definitely keep people in the meeting on task and keep the meeting short. So moving on to our valuation components, we would need a total capital necessary of $124,000, and this would be in exchange for 15% ownership based off a post-money valuation of $803,000. $803,000. And the reason why the total capital necessary is so high is because we are a custom website, and we plan on having a few developers working on this, essentially full-time. So that is the reason for that number. And for our exit strategy, we plan on selling in year 3 to software companies such as Cisco and Citrix. And the reason for these companies is that they also have, they're indirect competitors, so they have meeting websites like GoToMeeting by Citrix and then Cisco, WebEx by Cisco. So we feel that our website will be a perfect addition to their software companies.
We have an ability to gain both productivity and efficiency while saving time and money. We are meeting trained, and we want to change the way the world structures their meetings. Thank you.
That was a great presentation. Really good. And it's a big problem. I want to go into the value-based pricing. I get the way you kind of got the 10% of the savings, and then we'll take 10% of that. But that results in a really big ticket item, I think, for the company. Was it $12,500 per month?
Correct, yes.
So that's $150,000 a year subscription. Totally saves, if you can convince the client that it's going to save them that much money, it should be a no-brainer. However, aren't there a bunch of other alternatives that are much more cost-effective than paying $150,000 to have software to manage your meeting? And can you compare? There's two ways to do the pricing. Value-based pricing, or cost-based pricing, or competitive pricing. What do competitors charge, or what's a different alternative?
So a lot of the competitors we found are on like similar to us. It depends on how big the company is. So Same Page, for example, and another competitor that we found, they have what they call like an enterprise tier, and that would be essentially dependent on what business they're selling to. So at the moment, we don't know exactly how much they would charge because it depends on the company.
How much did you charge Pepper? Yeah.
How much did Pepper agree to pay?
At the time of that interview, we didn't have that pricing model set up, so we would charge them around $50 a month, I believe it was.
$50 a month versus $12,500.
So we did originally we had two different models. We had a subscription-based and a value-based. So we showed them the subscription-based because they were a smaller company. But now we're kind of figuring out the kinks.
How many companies are in your target segment at the value-based model
So-
in the Chicago area?
In the
Did you-
Chicago.
Yeah, because you said you would sell to 3, but out of how many?
So we found a list that Loyola University put together of 750 large businesses in Chicago. And we also found a statistic that 69% of meetings are inefficient, so that leads to about 450 businesses left over from the 750. So that's where we got that.
Why did you limit it to over 500?
Because with smaller companies, obviously they're probably not going to pay $12,500 per month. And through our MVP, that's something that changed in the last couple of months because we were going for smaller companies originally. But then talking with our mentor and other companies like Pepper, really paying us $25 a month for a software like this when we really quantify how much these meetings are costing companies. And for large companies that have hundreds of meetings every day across the country, our software could be better used for larger companies like them.
I love the gain share approach. It's risky because someone has to quantify how expensive a meeting is, and you might have to have an argument about that or just more detailed discussion. But your MVP sold it at $50.
Right.
So I think this is very cool. I think the ability to monitor a meeting within the meeting is cool. I think your exit strategy is cool because they don't have that, and I spend most of my day on WebEx. I'm stuck in that gap.
Right.
That I'm at
We all are.
$50,
Yeah.
and I think $50 is that is tolerable. Because here's the other thing: you're going to go surfing through the CFO world, and they're going to say, "Hey, listen, they've got a cool tool, but maybe I can do that for something less than $12,500," and then you lose your value in there.
Yeah, and your marketing plan didn't reflect to me your target segment of 450 high-end CFOs. That wasn't how you're marketing to.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was kind of a disconnect there.
Regardless, you're going to have to come up with pricing based upon the size of the organization. So it won't be one size fits all. It's going to be proportionate to sizing. I guess the takeaway from this is you have some work to do on validating the price. And it would be a shame to go out being kind of married to the $12,500 a month when you have a really good idea that might be dead on arrival because you got one assumption wrong. The rest of the business model could be great, but you just priced it at the wrong price point. So there's a bunch of ways you can work with your mentor on validating the price, but that should be one takeaway that you're taking from this feedback.
One other question, because your exit strategy, I agree, Carl, makes sense, because I'm on WebEx a lot too. How are you protecting your idea, with trademark or patents? I should say patents. Because it'd be very easy for somebody to develop that as well, that's got developers on staff.
That would be something that we have to look into in the future. We have.
Do you have the patent costs included in your startup?
We do, yes.
What would they be patented?
Right, yeah, I mean, have you?
Copyright, would it
That's-
be copyright for software?
It would be copyright on something specific to our software, so perhaps the progress bar or the real-time
And
agenda.
you've got two unique features that could be very easily copied.
Right.
If you aren't protected, you'd be, dead on arrival if they, saw that, so.
The
That's
pricing,
cool, because that's your value.
the pricing thing's a real issue because the way I look at this is a product that, 6 to 8 months down the road, people are gonna be going like, geez, I'm paying $12,500 for this all the time. And, what you wanna get is somebody that's gonna be with you for a long time, so you really need to figure the pricing out.
Right, and with that pricing, that 12.5 was just essentially like a placeholder because that was based on that study. And that's like, I think like you said, one size doesn't fit all. So that number would definitely change depending on the size.
Yeah, I perceive that, you're suggesting that you'll go into a company and say, here's how much you spend on meetings every year. We'll save you 10%, we'll take 10% of that. It's gonna be a different number for each company, but you really gotta make it, appealing to long-term.
And another strategy that our mentor was talking to us about was go into companies and don't charge them anything. Say, use our software and we'll calculate how much money we're saving you, and we won't take anything until we calculate that, and then we'll take 10% of whatever we calculate your
The
savings.
game share.
So,
I mean, one more thing to add to Brian's point too. Your target audience of need people with 500 plus employees, you can come down on that in a big way. If you could start with, I think you could do 50 employees.
Even smaller.
Because the meetings, people can hijack meetings and just be on their agenda. And what you can do is keep them on track. Say, hey, we expected to be here for 20 minutes. We've been here for 32. We need to get back on track. So I think you can expand that substantially.
Yeah, I thought there, and from the pitch that we heard earlier in the year from you, that there was some other functionality around peer rating, like attendees were going to be rating the meeting holder, and there was going to be kind of roll-up metrics around, gosh, this person's meetings historically go 20% over, so they're not really, they need some training. I thought that was a really interesting deliverable, but I didn't see that in the pitch here. One, am I remembering it wrong, or did you kill that, or?
So we did kill the peer assessments because we found that realistically, if you were to rate like your friend, coworker or something, and they were 20 minutes over time, you wouldn't, like, there are ways that you can kind of box those numbers. So it's not necessarily.
You can rate it.
Right, exactly. The metrics that use.
Did you get that feedback from the market, or is that something that you're just projecting?
From the meetings that we sat in on, no one really seemed that willing to sit down after their meeting and answer a survey about how it went. But what you're thinking about with the, like quantifying the meeting holder is, so everyone will have an account, and so if you create a meeting and hold a meeting, you'll get an efficiency rating on your meeting. So if you complete all your topics on time, you'll have a 100% efficiency rating. If you go over time and you only complete, say, 70% of the topics, then you'll have an efficiency rating of 7%. So then the company owner can see, well, these meeting holders have a low efficiency rating.
Yeah, I really like that part of this. It's somewhat of a performance measurement that quantifies this. And there might be ways to, just anonymously rank the meeting where you really trust it. And it's just one email, one click, effective, not effective.
That could definitely.
Should have a meeting again, or should never have that meeting again.
Yeah.
Really black and white type ratings.
It could be an option too, because when you get into the measuring the quality of the meeting, you're exposing someone's vulnerabilities there. So you could say, hey, for this, you could add our understanding of quality. The other thing, I didn't know in your notes piece that you can keep notes. Boy, if you could add notes, if it would record
You mean
it.
like produce minutes?
Yeah, produce minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so that
That
would be
was
the
the note.
PDF that we were actually
Yeah.
trying
Do you
to work on.
do you generate a task list? Would this generate like a task list, assignments?
Yeah, so eventually, like, this is just like the bare minimalistic design for our demo for our MVP, but eventually we will have the more additional features like the efficiency, statistics, and like sending out tasks, and like an actual like sending out the notes to various attendees of meetings.
Yeah, and integrating with Microsoft Outlook.
Okay. Awesome. Can you tell us about the development that you've done to date? It sounds like you have some progress here. Is AJ working on it?
Correct, AJ did develop the software for us, so
Okay.
he's been working with us all semester on it, and so that's where some of our MVP funds went to develop that. So he developed our website, meetingtrain.com, as well as the demo, which is on our website. And so he's willing to work with us through the summer and continue to develop.
The final point, at least that I have, is 124,000 is going to be a difficult ask. It's a big number.
Yeah, we totally understand that. We just wanted to give you guys like the realistic number.
Yeah, so let's think about how to solve for that. A couple of ways to do it is to bring a developer on and give them some equity, and instead of paying them with cash, pay them with equity. But I would encourage you to think about a way to lower the capital outlay. And you might have to give away part of the company to do it, but
I completely agree with Michael. One way too is to change the scope of the requirements to start. And again, the high-end companies are gonna have higher IT demands for them to get past corporate firewalls and hosting and stuff, and you're gonna need more IT operational support to work with those kind of companies. You might be better off just doing with an internet, a straight online, you know, easy to access, small companies, and, you know, change your pricing, your tiered pricing. Because smaller companies are gonna be able to just jump on the internet and access it right away.
I would recommend, though, that you do test the small, medium-sized business units as in addition to the enterprise. What comes along with enterprise selling is a really long sales process and the ability where people are going to start asking you, oh, will you integrate with our PeopleSoft or Oracle deal? And you'll find that all of a sudden there'll be
Your IT costs are gonna
really
skyrocket.
painful integration where if you can go out and get a bunch of small companies that pay you a couple $100 a year and just get a bunch of subscriptions, you will build a very valuable business. And do not sell this a month at a time. It has to be annual or 3-year or 5-year subscriptions. Nobody buys it for 30 days.
Well, if anything, to impact behavior, you're going to need more than just a month's worth of meetings.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take time to adjust behavior.
Great job.
Okay.